Before you learn how Ayurveda can help you personally, you have to learn how to see yourself from an Ayurvedic perspective. And the first step is to understand some key Ayurvedic principles, the lenses through which Ayurveda views the universe. When first introduced to Ayurveda, many people tend to fixate on the doshas. We'll get to those in a few minutes, but first, let's look at the building blocks of the doshas. Ayurveda recognizes 20 qualities, or gunas, that can be used to describe every substance or experience. These qualities are organized into 10 pairs of opposites: heavy and light, slow and sharp, cold and hot, oily and dry, smooth and rough, dense and liquid, soft and hard, stable and mobile, gross and subtle, and cloudy and clear. The gunas are essential to understanding the Ayurvedic principle that like increases like and opposites create balance. And the gunas are the simplest to apply on a day-to-day basis. So, for example, if our bodies are feeling heavy and slow and cold, we need to think of ways that we can introduce more lightness, more sharpness, more heat through our diet, exercise, other activities, and practices. And we'll get to those sorts of things in a later video, but for now, let's look at how these 20 qualities come together in different ways. Ayurveda recognizes 5 elements as the fundamental building blocks of nature. Each of the elements is a unique combination of several gunas. Earth is cold, heavy, solid, stable, and dry. Water is cold, mobile, heavy, soft, and liquid. Fire is hot, subtle, mobile, dry, and sharp. Air is dry, cold, rough, and mobile. Ether, sometimes called space, is cold, light, and clear. Every substance contains all 5 of these elements. That said, in any given substance, 1 or 2 elements are typically predominant over the others. So this brings us to the doshas. Doshas are functional compounds that arise naturally when the 5 elements come together. Doshas are gross as opposed to subtle, meaning that we can perceive them with our ordinary 5 senses: sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. Doshas can be identified in various seasons of the year, different times of day, different climates, as well as in plants and animals, including humans. Each dosha embodies a combination of the elements and the gunas that create an energetic force of nature. Vata is comprised of the elements of air and space. The gunas associated with it are dry, light, cold, rough, subtle or pervasive, mobile, and clear. The energy of Vata is movement and impulse. In our bodies, it's responsible for breathing, heartbeat, movement, nerve impulses, sensory perception, and communication. In nature, we see Vata in the force of the wind. So the time of year associated with Vata is autumn and early winter, when the weather tends to be dry and cold and windy. The time of day associated with Vata is 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock, and that could be AM or PM. Pitta is composed of the elements of fire and water. The gunas associated with it are sharp, penetrating, hot, liquid, mobile, and oily. The energy of pitta is the energy of digestion and transformation. In the body, it's responsible for our appetite, our digestion, absorption, and assimilation. In nature, we see pitta in heat and humidity. So the time of year associated with pitta is late spring and summer, when the weather tends to be hot and humid. The time of day associated with pitta is 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Kapha is composed of the elements of earth and water. The gunas associated with it are heavy, cold, dull, oily, smooth, dense, soft, static, liquid, cloudy, hard, and gross. The energy of Kapha is the energy of structure and cohesiveness. It's responsible for grounding and stability. In our bodies, it's responsible for nourishment, growth, lubrication, regeneration, strength, and stamina. In nature, we see Kapha in precipitation. So the time of year associated with Kapha is late winter and spring, when we tend to see a lot of rain and snow, and the temperatures tend to be a little colder. The time of day associated with Kapha is 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock. And again, that could be AM and PM. All three doshas are present in each one of us, but the ratios among them vary a great deal from one person to the next. And then to complicate matters further, the ratios among the elements and the gunas that make up the doshas, those tend to vary as well, as do the way that these building blocks tend to manifest, where they show up and how they show up. So sometimes, you may have taken an online dosha quiz. Those can provide some general insight about you and about your body, but it's by no means a definitive diagnosis. So for that, you need the help of an Ayurvedic health counselor, an Ayurvedic practitioner, or an Ayurvedic doctor who can diagnose your natural state of balance, called your prakriti, and your current state of imbalance, called vikriti. I'll cover that in a later video, but for now, when you feel like something is off in your body, it's easiest to reflect on the gunas that are at play and make adjustments based on that, using the guiding principle of like increases like and opposites create balance. You can apply that principle to the 4 pillars of health: diet, sleep, lifestyle, which includes exercise, and energy management. For more on the 4 pillars of health, go back to my video titled, "What is Ayurveda?" And if you'd like to learn more about the framework and the practices of Ayurveda, subscribe to this channel and visit bodywisdomayurveda.com.